Hey guys, it's the 16th of December and I finally finished book 2. I have literally just finished listening to What We Cannot Know by Marcus du Sautoy, which I will put up on the screen here because I've mainly been listening to it on audio. He actually narrates the audiobook himself, but also I've been reading it on ebook because I managed to find it on Scribd, which was really lucky because I definitely needed the diagrams in this book to make sense of some of the things he talked about. So Marcus is a mathematician and he holds, I can't remember the proper title of his position, but it's something about being a science communicator at the University of Oxford. And he took over that role from Richard Dawkins, who is a scientific writer and very kind of outward atheist. I haven't actually read any of Richard Dawkins' stuff. I do want to, but yeah, he's quite combative with religious groups and all of that. That's kind of all I really know about Richard Dawkins. And when Marcus took over his position as this science communicator, he began to have a lot of questions asking him about what he believes in and his stance on religion and God. And so in this book, Marcus is looking at the very edges of our knowledge as it stands now, and I guess having a bit of a conversation about what is God something that we can never know, and if it is, then what could we never know? If that makes any sense. So he goes through 7 different topics. I think it's 7. And the last topic actually was named The Christmas Cracker, which I thought was quite good because it's Christmas time. So I was like, oh, a bit of Christmas chucked in there. Anyway, yeah. So he kind of talks about lots of different things, but he talks about chaos theory. He talks about the observable universe, how much we think we know about the extent of the universe now and the origins, and what people think we can know about it, what people think we can't know about it in the future. Like, is there something we can't know? Can we ever know what happened pre-Big Bang? Does pre-Big Bang even make any sense? He talks about quantum physics and breaking things down to the very, very small. He discusses our consciousness and kind of the research into trying to work out where it comes from, or at least learn more and more about the brain. Can we ever really know what consciousness actually is? How do we know that other people are conscious in the same way we are conscious? How do I know that what you see as red is the same as what I see as red? This is all stuff that I find completely fascinating, by the way. And in the last chapter, he's a mathematician, as I said, so the last chapter was more about mathematics and infinity and what we know about infinity and like how that has evolved over time. And yeah, it was really, really interesting. I did like his narration of the book. I found him very easy to understand. Like, he put a lot of emotion into what he was saying, but that did mean that I needed a little bit of time to get used to the way he was saying it because he was so enthusiastic that I was like, whoa. After listening to Sapiens, where that narrator was quite paced and clear, Marcus was like, bah, this is like, you know, all the enthusiasm. And yeah, so that took a little bit of getting used to, but I did end up really liking the way he narrated it. And yeah, I thought it was good. Like, definitely if you're interested in those kinds of topics, I would recommend it. It was written in 2016, so it is fairly up to date. There will obviously probably be things that have moved on a little bit, but it's not that long in the grand scheme of things. A lot of the physics stuff I found was a lot of revision for me in a way because I studied it at university, but I found it actually quite good because it kind of took me back and reminded me of like lots of different things. And so for me, those little anecdotes that I'd heard before, I still enjoyed hearing them again, even though in some cases I've heard certain stories so many times in my studies that I could just feel like I could recite them. But I feel like he did a pretty good job at being clear about the things that I'd learnt about at university, which made me kind of feel like I was getting the right end of the stick when he was talking about things I didn't know, if you know what I mean. I'm definitely not a science communicator, so I'm probably explaining this really weird, but I felt like he was clear. I feel like this book could either be really interesting for someone or like freak someone out completely because it's just like these massive subjects. I know I love thinking about the universe and the extent of the universe, but I know people that find it absolutely terrifying to think about that. Similarly with quantum physics, I love thinking about like how much of it just doesn't make sense to us about how it works physically, but I just love thinking about that. But other people get freaked out. And I always thought that thinking about consciousness was something that I would be really like interested in as well, that it would override getting freaked out. But actually it freaked me out. I was like, I'm not sure I like thinking about this, like where does consciousness come from? Like breaking down your own brain to just processes and stuff. I don't know. I think I read a book called Why We Sleep. Forgotten who the author of that is now, but it was a non-fiction book about sleep and it was really, really great. But like breaking down the brain in that way and like thinking about how things work, I think just, yeah, it sets off my anxieties. So although I did find that part of the book really interesting, that definitely freaked me out a little bit. And I found that slightly less enjoyable to read because I was like, oh, but yeah, maybe that's because it's looking inward at myself rather than like out in other places. I don't know. But yeah, overall, I really liked it. I thought it was good. It took me ages to read. Like, I think this is like day 11 that I've been reading it. And work has been busy, but I think also it's just one of those books that you just have to take your time with, because if you rush through, you're going to miss everything. So yeah, they kind of had to take that long, really. Right, so I'm going to go and get my cup. I didn't even wait to get my cup to put the camera on. I just was like, let's get filming. So yeah, let me grab that and I'll be right back. Okay, here it is. The TBR cup. Please give me a fiction book. Please, 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 please. I just have this feeling it's going to give me... I've got a couple of books about infinity. I don't want to read those right now, guys. I do not want to read about infinity right now. Maybe I could override it if that comes up. I don't know, I feel like digging deep has been the problem before, but I'm going to go right to the bottom anyway. Let's go with this yellow one. Okay, let's see what this is. Do you know what? This might have to be one that I DNF. Let me go and see. I pulled The Elegant Universe. Why did I buy so many of these books when I was younger? I've done this to myself. I feel like the game is really punishing me. Because if you don't know, I'm doing this because I lost my TBR game. So this is punishment to the absolute punishment. I haven't read this. Let me just go and get it. Okay, here it is. The Elegant Universe by Brian Greene. I did think that maybe this was going to be a book about like just like a beginner's book to the universe. Which I was going to DNF because I feel like I've got so many of those books. I've read so many of them that I was going to not read it and just get rid of it. But this is actually about string theory. And I don't know anything about string theory, but I did say in the first of these videos that I put out that if I picked a book that was like a very, very dense physics book about something that was going to take me ages probably to understand, I wouldn't read it because, I mean, it's really dense and I don't know anything about this, so it's probably going to take me ages to read. And so I think this is one of the ones that I'm allowed to veto because I can't read this quickly. It's Christmas and I don't want to DNF it because I don't know anything about string theory really. So I do want to read it, but now is not the right time. And that was my one caveat, that if I still had a dense physics book in there, I wouldn't read it because that's not fun for me to try and rush through this. It's not fun for you to hear about me rushing through it. So I'm going to put this back in after December, so I'm not going to throw it away, but I'm not going to read that. I vetoed it, guys. I vetoed it. Okay, let's pick again. I think the bottom is bad, so we're going to go from the top now. I'm going to pick this blue one. Let's just go with that. Watch it be another one of these books. It's turning into a joke. It's turning into a massive joke. Other Minds. Okay, this is still non-fiction, but it's my Kindle book and it's not about physics. It's about biology. Right, let me look it up. So maybe I just don't have any fiction books in there. Maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe I read all of those and left all the non-fiction books. So this is helping get through things. Oh yeah, this is the book about the octopus and the evolution of intelligent life. So what did I just say about feeling freaked out about reading about the brain? Why not read this book? Yeah, I've heard really great things about this. So this is about Peter Godfrey Smith. And yeah, it's supposed to be amazing. And actually, I do really want to read it. So yeah, still non-fiction, but hopefully something I can get my head around a little bit quicker than string theory. An in-depth book about string theory. That ain't happening. Okay, we're going to go with this. This is good. This is moving me through my digital books. So it's a good thing. and I will try and find it on audio, so that will help me as well, hopefully. Alright guys, I hope that you are having a successful, fun reading December, and that you're not being held back in any way by losing your TBR games. Let me know how you are in the comments, and yeah, I'll chat to you down there. See you later.